Welcome back to Switched to Linux. This is the brief overview of the PeppermintOS distro. So the PeppermintOS is a fascinating newer distro. It's newer in the scope of many of the other distros that are quite a bit older. And this one has a specific philosophy, and that is that it is taking advantage of the fact that a lot of our world is going web-based. Now, whether you like the web-based world or don't like the web-based world, it's a reality that we have to look towards. And so what we mean is most people are now utilizing, even businesses, industries, all the schools, everything's using, Google for their mail, sometimes for their documents, sometimes for their file structures. We have Dropbox is exceedingly popular for file sharing back and forth. If you do accounting, you know that your QuickBooks, I know QuickBooks is, I'm not sure about Peachtree, are moving online to web-based programs. Of course, you have the Office suite with Office 365, web-based programs. The web-based applications are where it is. So, of course, the mainstream system that has been gaining some ground on that field is the Chromebook. And of course, the Chromebooks in my state and my town, Chromebooks are issued to all of the kids in the school district. Because here you can have for like only $200, and they probably get them for $100 due to the volume discounts. You can give a really cheap computer that really doesn't need a lot of access to storage or anything else, because everything's web-based. And actually, I just saw a video just this last couple days by Eli, the computer guy, about, I forget which brand it was. Zuli, maybe? I forget. It's little microcomputers. And as you know, my Windows 10 computer in my office is one of these microcomputers. Now, mine's a Dell, which for doing simple web-based apps is actually not a bad thing. So the Peppermint desktop is the Linux answer to that type of approach. So if you really like that Chrome system, then the Linux Peppermint OS is probably the desktop for you. So we're going to walk through some of the things about this. So this is Peppermint 7, and this is based on the Ubuntu 16.04. It's actually based through the Linux Mint system. So a lot of the similarities and the good things about Linux Mint are inside the desktop. But since they really wanted to have a system kind of like a Chromebook, where really lightweight, you can put it on a small system, they've chosen to not use the Cinnamon desktop, which Linux Mint is famous for. Instead, they go with the LXDE to have this very lightweight desktop. So you get the similar desktop experience as you do on like an Ubuntu, meaning you can run this system on very low resources. So in fact, let me pull up the task manager. I meant to do this before. So this is running on a virtual machine. This is one of the things I don't like about Ubuntu, is sometimes it is very hard to grab that corner. I don't have that problem on Linux Mint, but this one's giving me that issue. So this is, of course, running on a virtual box. So in theory, it should be slower. I'm really not even noticing any issues. Now, also, I'm actually doing this on my desktop computer rather than the Linux Mint computer I usually do my videos on. And I'm doing that because I happen to have Peppermint already installed and configured on my desktop virtual machine. So I just switched over here. You can see that the entire operating system right now, even though it's running Firefox, which is probably one of the highest system use things right now, Firefox is absolutely huge. And you can see I'm only running 800 megabytes of memory. That is how lightweight this system is. Meaning you can put this on any of these small micro PCs right now without a problem. You will have no issues running this. In fact, it's kind of funny. I'm going to keep the system resources open. I'm just going to walk through real quick. Here's their main web page. It's peppermintos.com. Is where you can get the information about these guys. You can get a 32-bit for an older machine, a 64-bit for a newer machine. This does allow you to purchase a USB drive. So if you do not have access to download, I want to say it's like a, I don't know, 1 gigabyte-ish file. If you do not have access to the internet to download that, you can actually click here, purchase the USB stick, and they have a nice integrated user's guide right here. So you have everything that you need. So it talks a little bit about the setup and the information. The user's guide's actually nice. It just walks you through downloading it, installing it, introduction to how the desktop is set up. So that's kind of how this system here works. And I really like it. Many of my distros, if it's installed on my system, I've actually customized some things before I actually run the video. On this case, I never did. I just love the default theme in here. It's really nice. Just a nice, it's a dark, colorful theme. The only thing I did do is I was playing around with the icons. I changed the icons down here for Firefox and for VLC, although I'm not sure they changed over here. So that just changed it on the launcher here. I have to do an extra step to change them over on the Whisker menu here. All right, so now I closed Firefox. This is what I wanted to see. So the system running out of the base is running ½ a gig of RAM, and that is extremely light for an operating system. So as I said, this is based on the LXDE. We're using the Whisker menu here, a very nice menu in all respects. You can just hit the Windows key to get it booted right up, and if you want to find something, you just start typing, and you'll get everything appearing in the box there. It defaults to favorites, which ends up being the programs that you use the most, and then you can select over here your various settings. So your internet, your office, all this kind of stuff here. So here it actually gives you online users guide, Peppermint forum. Up here at the top, we can have settings. One of the difficult things, like it took me a while to figure out how to get the desktop icons up here. You have to do that through the DEFCON editor. I guess deconfig editor, whatever. DEFCON, I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, you just come down here and you go into, it's into org, into Nemo, into desktop, and then this is where you can actually toggle on and off the menus. So not the most intuitive. Most of the distros out there will have the option to adjust the desktop icons in here. This doesn't. This is one of the things I don't like about the system, is it's extremely light on the system settings and whatnot. Okay, so I'm just looking through the various options that we have. I'm not seeing a spot to integrate your online accounts, probably because integrating online accounts is something with the more advanced user interfaces like GNOME or the Unity desktop will allow you to do that. But what Peppermint does have that really allows it to stand out and really puts it as a strong competitor with the Google Chrome OS is or the Chromebook, I should say, is the ICE packages. So I have an ICE package here for YouTube, and the icon looks ugly. I simply told it to use the favicon for the site. So what ICE is it takes advantage of the SSBs, or site-specific browser functions inside of web browsers. So you can utilize these through Firefox, through Chrome, or through Chromium. And what you do with these is you set this up and you basically produce one application which runs through the browser. So we can see it's through the browser. But you'll notice that it gets rid of all the windows, all of the all the back buttons, forward buttons, all of your bookmarks, all that kind of stuff is effectively gone from here. So what I end up with is one web browser which can be used exclusively to view one site. So this is a very nice application for school-based settings, or even for home-based settings, where you might just want to control what is on your individual items. So what I did here is I just created an ICE application to YouTube. So it takes me just to YouTube without any of the other site framing around it. So this link only goes to YouTube, nothing else. I can't get anywhere else from here. So it's quite easy to set these up. Inside of Peppermint, there is an application called ICE, and this is where you set these guys up. So what you do is you can come over here and actually see all of the ICE programs that you have. They do actually give you a decent number of these programs to start, because this is the purpose. So they have one already for Gmail. They have one for the calendar. I guess this is online Mahjong. First person Tetris, Solitaire. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm just going to hit the remove button there. So you can remove them. This is the YouTube one I just created. You'll see that there's actually some nice icons, and if I hunted through, I'm sure that there's some icons in the system for some of these more popular devices. If not, you could easily create one with you like Font Awesome or something. But you just come up here and you give it, you can give it a name. I'll actually just create one to my main web design company. So let's do that, and then type in the URL. And then where is this located in the menu? So you can select where it's at. I'll put that under Office. And then here I can select any icon from the icon systems, or I can use the site favicon. So this will use either Firefox, Chromium, or Chrome. I do not have Chrome or Chromium installed on the system, so this is why it gives me only Firefox. Hit apply. It can take a few seconds to show up. So there we should be set. So I'll come over here, go into Office, and now here is an ICE application which should go straight to my main business page. It's not really a reason to do that, but anyway, there it is. So this allows you to come into your desktop, and if you happen to be an accountant and you use online QuickBooks, you can create one of these SSBs directly to it and throw it up on your icon, like just on your desktop. In fact, to put something on your desktop, let's just go ahead and put that on the desktop. I find in the Whisker menu, right-click, and I can add it to favorites, I can add it to desktop, or I can add it to panel. So I'll just click desktop. You'll see it's on the desktop. Now, I'd want to have a better icon if that were just going to be floating around on my desktop. But I can actually add it to my panel, and where it added is way over here. I don't really like it over there, but this panel is much like Linux Mint's panel, so I can come over here and I can edit the panel, and then now this will allow me, should allow me to drag and drop items around. Let's see. Just trying to get it out of there. I might be missing a step. Nope, there it is. That was right. Okay, so here we've adjusted the panel. So you'll see when you're editing the panel, when you're not. So now if I want to go to my main business site, I can come up here and just click on that. Of course, if you do have an ICE application you want to get rid of, you can come over here to remove. And I'll just use this. Find it here, hit the remove button, and that takes the ICE application off. Looks like it does not take off the various shortcuts, so you're going to want to just trash those. Okay. So let's see. We covered this is already an extremely lightweight system. It's kind of a replacement, Linux replacement system for the Chromebook type approach. The file folders, the file structures. That's the next thing I want to talk about. These were Nemo. Now, again, I talked about the theming. I really love the theming in here. Like if a window's not the active window, you'll see it will give you this transparency. It's just a very slick system. This background is one of the default backgrounds that they give you. It's not the core default background, but I really liked this one, especially for Peppermint, dark theme. Those red slick guys back there was very slick. So here the Nemo File Explorer is definitely my favorite file manager there is. Allows me just this nice drag bar so I can drag and drop the icons to the size I like. And then I can toggle between the breadcrumb menu here and an address bar, which means this is another one of these desktops where I can actually FTP right on into something. If I'm doing some web design here, just FTP right on in. And then let's see, over here I can search whatever this master folder is for anything, and then here I can just toggle between the lists, the views, and the icons. We have down here we can toggle on and off our sidebar, and then we can do a list tree or an icon tree here. So it does have the Nemo File Explorer, which is definitely my favorite and preferred file explorer. And let's see if there's anything else I wanted to look at here. We talked about the SSBs, the Nemo File Explorer. What do I not like about the system? One of the things I don't like is there's not quite as much online support for Peppermint as you find in several of the other distros, although it is gaining some popularity, and so because of that, we are starting to see more resources. However, being based on Linux Mint, being based on Ubuntu, the amount of resources is extraordinary, and also knowing that the desktop environment is the the LXDE. Since it is the LXDE desktop, then you can actually do some searching for that, and that's actually how I end up recalling how to put the desktop icons back up there. So that was a very, very brief walkthrough of the Peppermint 7 distro. Overall, I highly recommend this. I'm not sure if I'm ready to completely replace it with Linux Mint, mostly because I don't do a lot of things with the online accounts, but that's exactly what I'd use this for, is if I were doing a lot of things with online accounts, maybe for one specific business project, I might boot a copy of this onto a hard disk, throw it in a computer if I were to be doing a lot of things with that. So if you happen to be using using a lot of those web-based applications, a lot of YouTube, a lot of Gmail, a lot of things like QuickBooks or other web-based services a lot, you might really want to consider this, especially if you have an older computer. This should not have any problems running on an older computer because it is so light on the system resources. So this has been Tom, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.